were killed. But this was following what had happened earlier in the year. The beginning of that same year, February 1990, is the year that Robert Hawke was assassinated, and violence broke out throughout the country for all those months. So Saba Saba was just what do you call it, a climax of what had begun earlier in the year.
All right, and you did.
People fight for freedom.
You did talk about extensively covering what happened with Robert Oko. What sticks with you about the day? Did you expect it would end up being as historic as it is now?
I knew the day was special because all the key opposition leaders, some rode in the same vehicle. It was a day that there was massive unity against the system. The day that the entire media, the entire opposition, and the crowds in their thousands poured into Kamukunji and the streets of Nairobi to say enough is enough. People wanted change. So historically, the images we captured in the newsrooms, the quotes that we had, and the blood that was shed, I knew that Saba Saba was going to be a significant day. Actually, some of us even suggested that it becomes a public holiday, but who knows? One day it will.
All right. Do you agree with Caleb that Saba Saba, because I had Oburu Oginga today say the same, that it should be gazetted as a public holiday? Do you share their views?
I would like to say a few things about this because, well, there are some people who are seeking political recognition out of Saba Saba because some of them were not there. In fact, they were fighting us, you know, some of them. And so what I would say is this: Saba Saba was a culmination of long struggle that started in 1969 with the burning of Kenya People's Union. You know, when Kenya People's Union was banned, Kenya became a de facto one-party state. You know, and from then on, we continued to struggle about reintroduction of multipartism, which Kenyatta left blank and gave the leadership to Moi, who actually enjoyed, you know, being that way, you know, until we came in to say we must have multipartism. Just before we started that campaign, there was the Mwakenya movement, you know, that formed within the leadership of Daniel Taraitich Arap Moi, or around that leadership. And he arrested more than 3,000 young people and put them into prisons and tortured them in police stations, etc. You know, so then we decided in 1988, after the Mlolongo elections, that we must introduce multi-party in this nation. That is what really happened. What I'm trying to say is this: if you look at 1982 to 1988, you will see majority of the people that were working with Daniel Taraitich Arap Moi started thinking that we should be eliminated. In fact, majority of them were calling us Vinyangarika. Do away with these Vinyangarikas, socialists and communists. They have come to spoil our nation, you know. And majority of our people were tortured because of that. There is something somebody said last night, which I think was very good. And this is it, that during that time, Moi could arrest and torture, release, could put into prisons through trumped up charges, you know, get into prison and finish that term, or even detain and bring us out. He didn't kill, like I see today, a lot of eliminations going on. And therefore, during that time, it appeared to me like there were people who were a bit humane, although dictators, you know, but these days, things are turning out to be very bad. That when you are arrested by the police are very happy, killing, you know, yet they are supposed to be the protectors of that life. You know, instead, they have turned themselves into preserving the sadism, killing the people, eliminating any alternative voice, and therefore remaining with a dictatorship that according to me, is going to witness a lot of Kenya's suffering. Now, after I've said that, is that you will find that a day like today, which are seen suffering in this country, needs to be recognized in one way or another. In fact, we have been saying this. We have got the Mandaraka Day, we have got the Jamhuri Day, we have got the Mashujaa Day, and Mashujaa changed because of our campaigns, because they were calling it Kenyatta. Mm-hmm. The day that Kenyatta was arrested, you know, they wanted us to say that was actually the winning day. It wasn't the winning day. The winning day for Kenya is 1st of June, when the Mzungu said, yes, we recognize that you people have beaten us. We recognize that you are capable. We recognize that you are able to rule over yourselves. And therefore, all those people that were involved in freedom struggle, the freedom war veterans, was a
Choose from thousands of realistic voices to use in your content. Change the way you record podcasts.
Personal aggrandizement that I was arrested, so we should be. And then even more, he copied that to say that the day he was sworn in 1955 to be member of the Legico should be called Moi Day. You know, and you know, you look at these things, you cannot understand. What we have been saying ourselves is this: the day that people feel that they should be liberated or fight to liberate themselves should be the day that Kenyans should actually celebrate as publics, not as government, as publics, a public's day for liberation. And for me, Saba Saba represents that. Not because I was involved, it is because it carries the spirit of the struggle for multipartyism. And so what Obudu is saying, and what my brother Atemi, and I know Atemi, I saw him many times, you know, is correct. Can we have Saba Saba, the day that Kenya proclaims liberation?
All right.
Second.
Okay. Caleb, perhaps you can tell us what it was like covering those monumental protests, and what comparison can you make with how police handle protests? We had a commemorative event on June the 25th, marking 2 years since the Gen Z protests. Only today, we had protesters arrested by the police, 10 in number. The Inspector General of Police saying they were not given notice. Has much changed in how the police conduct themselves, Caleb, in your view?
Actually, you'd be surprised that today's journalists are actually very lucky. You are privileged that you can actually cover a riot, put on the jacket with Media Council logo on it, and run behind the policemen as they shoot or tear gas protesters. In those days, journalists were considered the enemies of the state. So when Njeru Gadangu and Martin Shikuku are being clobbered, we are being clobbered in the same breath. When they are being arrested, they're being arrested in the same breath, because anybody with a notebook and pen was seen to be more dangerous than a goon with a gun and a rungu. So basically, the police haven't changed much, only that the shooting has intensified. I think there's more trigger-happy people today than there were those days. But the beating that you see occurring with Reverend
Joya,
with the name of a good reverend outside Parliament, is what used to happen to all journalists and all waheshimiwas those days. So it was bloody, it was frightening, it was scary. One of the most frightening moments in the life of any journalist.
So Caleb says, you know, one of the most frightening moments in the life of any journalist. What gave you, Mheshimiwa, the courage? Because you said you were involved in mobilizing Kenyans from, you know, various parts of the country to come together at the Kamkunji grounds. It was an era where walls had ears.
Yes, the wars and ears, because what was happening is this: of every 5 Kenyans, 1 was an informer or a spy or a special branch who was paid to listen and relay messages about what was happening out there.
1 in 5?
1 in every 5.
How did you come by that number?
It is true. Wherever we were able to appreciate that one of us is an informer, you know, and in fact, we were arrested every time because one of us relayed messages, you know. So when you go to Mombasa, Nairobi, Nakuru, Kisumu, majority of the people that were arrested were reported by one of those that were sitting with them, you know, meaning that therefore, including the journalists, some of the journalists were sellouts, you know, they came out to follow. We were thinking that you are seeking information, you know, but they want to hear what happened, and they will go to Moya and make money out of us, you know. But you are asking a fundamental question. What encouraged us? You know, not then, but even now, we must sacrifice for a nation that is our motherland, you know, and we must make sure that this motherland is part of the great nations that the world ever noticed. By the way, the reason why Kenya is respected across the world is because they had the freedom war. And this freedom war was kind of copied by various nations, including Algeria. They got it from Kenya, including the Black Power movement in the United States, including the rejuvenation of the African movement in South Africa, and so forth. That sacrifice means something for humanity. What you see on that screen now, that you have Njoya being clobbered. He was clobbered in 1998. You know, we were there. Myself, Orengo, and Mokisa Kitui. We witnessed it. But I was telling Njoya, tafadhali Njoya, don't lead this movement here. They are going to beat you. Watch sisi tufanya hivyo. And Njoya, wherever he is, and he can see it, he lives somewhere here. He remembers saying that, and he refused. So Jeshi la Mzee, that is when it started, led by a honorable member then, and the first commissioner or second commissioner of Nairobi City, called Fred Gumo, wherever he is, and he knows that is true. He paid those characters on behalf of Moi to come and beat us, you know, and they clobbered and Joy and broke his limbs and what have you know, for no reason at all. You know, what I want to say is this. Mwili ni kama ugali, unaweza kuuchapa na uuchape, but it doesn't reduce its weight. Unaweza kugonga ugali na ufanye nini, it does not reduce the weight, but the determination of the human person lives on. What I want to say is this. When a country is changing from the civil to police state, it is like now, you know, that the people are processing, people are demonstrating, people are assembling, people are petitioning, and so forth. Those people are unarmed, they are peaceful. Why would the police come out in thousands to block them? Unless they are saying that even the president is nothing, where we as the police are. That is when you create a state to be a police state. Mm-hmm. And the president and his ministers have got no authority whatsoever. So it is Kanja who is in charge, you know, of security in Kenya, not even the military, not even the executive, not even the Security Council. Because if the Security Council had a voice, they would restrain disruption of people's life. Today, there was no work. People are not fighting. Why would the police come and block all the roads? Because, you know, blocking the road simply says they are in charge of the city. You are telling people to go to work. How would they work from Tana River and what have you and Athi River and Ngong and blah, 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 if they cannot access the city? It is killing the economy, it kills determination, and people become hopeless.
All right. Caleb, on the question of journalists also being informants, but also I read in an interview you did that you were detained several times as you covered this agitation for multi-party democracy.
Actually, I've slept in countless police stations across those days. These days, what they were called districts across the counties, and I was detained for a very long time, probably close to 1 year in Northeastern Province. And as Mheshimiwa Kalangu says, every individual, politician or journalist, had 1 or 2 special branch officers follow him or her wherever he or she went. So we were always accompanied by these individuals, armed. Some of them would follow us openly, some discreetly. And unfortunately, also some of our colleagues were, as he says, sellouts. Some of them were in the payroll of the state. Others were actually journalists, but not really journalists, they were actually policemen, but working in newsrooms as photographers or reporters. So you'd file a story, and before you leave the newsroom, you get a call from a Mheshimiwa giving you every sentence that you wrote, and you wonder what happened, because we didn't have internet those days. But somebody somewhere has already sneaked the articles to the authorities. So there were days when you could not trust anyone. Yes. You couldn't trust your friends. You could not trust even your spouse or your sibling, because anyone could be a police officer. A fly on the wall could be watching you. So there were days of terror. And anybody going in police detention came out broken. They would not only beat you or break you physically, but work on your emotion and your psychology. So there are days that we would like to forget as fast as we can, but some of us are now documenting them, those days in our books to help the people read and know what happened. Another thing I would like to talk about is that is a difference in protests. I know there's an issue of hooligans and goons joining protests these days, but people rarely looted those days. We just joined the streets to fight or throw stones at the police, but rarely would you hear of individuals looting. The last looting that we had heard of was during the 1982 coup, but people were only protesting and fighting the police who would actually be beating them up. The issue of hooliganism and thuggery is a sad chapter in the Kenyan civil rights movement.
All right, and I know Mheshimiwa has something to add where that is concerned, but we came across this picture of you, Caleb, on the internet next to Kalonzo Musyoka in what appears to be a prison's uniform. What can you tell us about the picture?
Yeah, there's a book I'm releasing this year. It's called Kaba, A Prisoner's Cry. I was actually given a 10-year sentence for a crime I knew nothing about. But after serving close to 2 years, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo and the senior counsel, John Khaminwa, were able to get me released through the appeal I'd filed at the High Court. So my book is ready. I'll be releasing all the details of the case, including the judgment, word for word. So I hope you'll give me space on your session to come and tell you what happens inside prison.
My director, Monica, says definitely. But you wanted to weigh in on the question of infiltration by goons and looting that Caleb was talking about. Is it a new phenomenon?
No, it is not new. I mean, the special branch anywhere and everywhere in the world, introduce people, particularly in publics, where they are going to be collecting intelligentsia, that they would pass to them and therefore to the Security Council, for the Security Council, Security Committee to decide what to do. Infiltration is by pretenders, and those pretenders are organized. And I would like Kenyans to reflect on this, because I have said it several times, even here, that majority of politicians in this country work in conspiracies or through conspiracies from 1961. To where we are today, that you find that some of those in government accommodate those in the opposition, and they work together, you know, and some of them pretending that they are opposing, but they are not opposing. They are simply fueling activities among publics and in society to make sure that they continue mobilizing them in an opposition program, you know, but in the end, give up that opposition and join the government. Meaning that the people are left desperate and frustrated. And so in the end, wanasema, well, whatever would happen, wanna vote. You know, and that is what's happening today. I bet, and I'm telling Kenyans this, that the 10 people that have been at the forefront of this politics, talking about 2027, majority of them are not committed to it. They are simply singing songs for whoever they would want elected next year. But they are not interested. All they are interested in to make money. Whoever wins next year will accommodate them in the government, and they continue enjoying. And we have seen it from 61 to now. Very little has happened. And I am repeating here that people talk about dynasties. We don't have family dynasties. We have got only one dynasty, the original one, the first one. There is the dynasty that created them, that is creating them, and it continues to mobilize them for those politics. You know, because why? Kenyans have been hurt. They are not hurt. Where you find that people's properties have been destroyed, theirs are not destroyed. Why? Yet they come back and tell us, unajua, sisi we are in the opposition. Some of them say we are united. Some of them say new opposition. Some of them say we are the next alternative. Some of them say, yeah, and so forth. They are going to say it up to June next year, and it will be finished. Kenyans will be frustrated again for the next 5 years. You know why? Because they are not thinking about the pretense and hypocrisy of the politicians. Mm-hmm. What I would like to emphasize is this. Even the police that are doing this, they must remember that they belong to the poor, because the soldier is employed by the king and the government to protect them from the poor, because they think they will be attacked and infiltrated by the poor and therefore disinherited. Right? So you find that my brother is in the police, and his brother is, and his cousin, and what have you, and all of us are in prison. So you go to the prisons today, there is 75,000 inmates. You go to the police and the army, you have got more than 75,000. Those 75,000 are brothers to those in prison. Right? And they are the ones that have arrested them. They continue to clobber them on the streets simply to preserve the character that is. They must realize that every time you are fighting your own brother for one character, one person. It doesn't pay. And in the end, when the policemen retire, they stay for not more than 5 years, and they are dead, because they cannot be supported by the villagers.
All right. And staying with the question of policing, right?
Yes.
Caleb, our top story tonight was the National Police Service Inspector General of Police summoned to show cause why disciplinary action should not be taken against them for contempt of court. And as I understand it, they were meant to 90 days ago put in place regulations on use of force during scenarios such as were witnessed today, commemorative marches, and what we witnessed on June the 25th, but also concern.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, click up. What did I just agree to in that meeting? That's better.
And then, of course, there's a question of covering of their faces, using unmarked vehicles. These are all issues that have been litigated and orders issued by the judiciary. Does it worry you, Caleb?
Sadly, Kenya is the home of impunity. So it does not matter how much noise we make. We've been making that noise for years. We've fought and gone to court. We've been everywhere. But impunity is so deeply entrenched in our political culture that the police bosses know that you'll take them anywhere. You will not take them anywhere. And I think it goes back to what Mheshimiwa Gadango has been alluding to, that when the country gained our so-called freedom, it was simply the colonialists handing over power to individuals who they knew would actually run affairs of the state and take care of the economic and financial interests. And I've been saying in many articles that I've written over the years that Kenya was taken over by a few powerful individuals. It was like an economic, spiritual, and political covenant that they entered into. So what they do is they keep Wananchi divided, keep people fighting each other, and they keep looting the resources, and they keep running the country. And the ones who decide who becomes president in the next 10 years or so, they've already made up their minds who will be running this country. So back to the issue of the police, impunity is deeply entrenched, but the policemen copy what their seniors and bosses do. When a child watches a father or mother misbehave, they attempt to misbehave. So what the cops are doing is what the political leaders have been doing for years. People are summoned by parliamentary committees. Courts issue orders, and the orders are ignored, and they're snapped. So I really don't know how we're going to address that issue of impunity, because it seems to be very deep as corruption is.
You share those sentiments?
One is that to change this, ndugu yangu Atemi, means that the leadership should be totally different. A leadership that is committed for people's aspirations at good, social good. I want to say this. Saba Saba, as we celebrated, we organized Saba Saba to reintroduce multipartyism. It is true that multi-party politics was reintroduced in this country in December 1991. But what is it that happened? When Moi introduced multipartyism, he actually looked at what the Muzungus did in 1960, that by the time that they were introducing parties for electoral processes in 1960, everybody who was fighting for change in this country was either in the forest, in prison, or in detention. By the time they came, it is pretenders and whoever that had been given opportunity to form political parties, and the people that were supervising on behalf of the British, the provincial administrators, are the ones that were taken as the people in authority to manage the change. Now, so when the people came from prisons, from detention, from forests, they found that the space had been occupied. When Moi introduced multi-party politics in 1991, December, all of us were in prison, all of us. So by the time we came, we found that the same special branch who arrested us are the ones that had been given opportunity and chance to form political parties. And so parties like Social Democratic Party, parties like Kenya National Congress, which we were fighting to introduce in Kenya in 1990, had been taken up by special branch agents. What happened after that? When we came out, we tried to look at where we could fit, and there was really nowhere. We decided, let us support the old man that we had consulted first, before we started the movement, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who had formed the Ford Forum, and see whether we could change there. But you see, it was impossible, because all the councils had been pushed toward to Ford. And they became the voice, democratic voice, because you see, democracy is about majority. So when the majority has decided, the minority are left on the wayside, isn't it? And so the majority that was deciding in Ford were not committed, liberators. What happened after that? Today, we have got about 100 political parties. I belong to a political party called Fonda City, which was split after the Fonda split. We had Fonda City and Fonda Kenya, right? Wetangula has got Fonda Kenya. Katangu has got Fonda City. Does it mean anything in Kenya today? It's only Kenyans that would be able to say whether we mean anything. Are we still original? Are we misplaced? Or where are we going? Next year as we come, we will be saying that tunafuata chama fulani. But all those political parties are formed. For example, I know one character in this country owns about 10 political parties. So that when political parties meet, his voice is the one that is heard. Another one owns 8 political parties. You know, they are called different names, but they are registered by one person. He is the one that gives the money, and they go to government and get the names, and they push them there. Majority of the people, including you, Olive, I think you are a member of a political party. If you have never checked, go check. And you did not say where you want to belong,
right.
But that is where. Okay. You know, let Kenyans be wide-eyed to see what their politicians are doing, for them to make good and informed decisions.
All right. So before we get into your experience, because you talked about being in detention, forests, before we get your experience, we had asked for viewer questions. Let's take at least 2. This is Ras Bashir Were. Kavango, as a former MP, do you believe your generation fulfilled the ideals of the Saba Saba movement, or did it fall short? And number 2, why do many Kenyans feel Parliament has become less effective at holding the executive accountable? Let's start with a question on, do you believe your generation fulfilled the ideals of the Saba Saba movement, or did it fall short?
Yes, we did. Because one, we went into Saba Saba so that we can introduce multipartyism, right? It was introduced. And then the next thing, which was our campaign, permanent campaign, perpetual campaign, was for Kenya to do its own constitution out of what we had experienced before, that the constitution of Kenya was handed over from Lancaster to Kenyatta, and we wanted Kenyans to be involved. Of course, there was a mistake that was committed by having what Moi was calling a small committee for experts to come and do the constitution. What is it they did? They went out to other constitutions, you know, copy-pasted what was theirs. And today there is a very big quarrel, for example, about when is the elections day? Mm-hmm. Is it August of the 4th year or after 5 years? If you go to that, you'll see Kenyans traditionally were actually accustomed to elections after the 5 years. But the constitution today talks of the Tuesday in August, second Tuesday in August of the 5th year. 5th year meaning that we have just started the 5th year, so elections. But Kenyans say, no, tulikuwa tumesema miaka mitano. So the president, of course, is very happy about miaka mitano. But the constitution provision tells us that we must elect on the second Tuesday in August of the 5th year, meaning that we have just finished 4 years, and so we have started the 5 years. That's when we are supposed to have the elections. That we ignore. And therefore, when you look at the first one, we have achieved only that your impunity, my friend Atemi is talking about, creates nonsense in our systems, legal, constitution, and political system, including economics. The second one, Parliament is not supposed to be a public rallying ground. You know that you have about 400 members of Parliament, and only 30 attend Parliament sessions. And those 30 determine, you know, the decision, whatever decision that is going to be taken, right? And so when you go to that Parliament, you find that majority of them are technical participants in legislative systems, that they come, show their faces, they are actually marked as present, they walk out and go to their businesses, right? What does that mean? They are paid sitting allowances and everything else for doing nothing, right? And so what I have been saying myself is this, just like before, we need to reduce the counties or states in this country so that we do not give every shilling that this nation makes to personnel and the parliament, so that we can have few counties or few states with a reduced size of parliament. And that way, we shall avoid this. The executive is the one that has made sure it has captured parliament, and there is no member of parliament who is able to talk today against what Ruto proposes, meaning they are not representative of the people at all. And therefore, we don't need them.
Perhaps not all of them. There are a few who've
We have got a few.
out, yes.
We don't need 400.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
we
Caleb,
only need about 90.
Okay. Caleb, we have a question for you as well. All right. This is Rasu's asking, has the Kenyan media become more independent since the Saba Saba era, or is it under new forms of pressure? And number two, are journalists today free to report without fear of political or commercial influence? So we start with the first one. He's asking, has the Kenyan media become more independent since the Saba Saba era, or is it under new forms of pressure? What is your view, Caleb?
You see, the system has a way of changing color. So the Kenyan media has come under new pressure, and most of it comes in form of advertising, for instance, where the media house is forced to toe the particular line, or they lose revenue. And then the media houses themselves, I think because there are too many, too numerous, are unable to take care of their own people. So you have hundreds of young journalists who are underpaid, some are not paid at all, and they become easy prey to politicians and the system. So there are two ways. The media has more freer space, but they're not making good use of it as they should. So they need to up their game. The second one was?
He asked, are journalists today free to report without fear of political or commercial influence?
It's yes and no. Yes, because nowadays there are more channels and more avenues, more venues, more channels for media people to report through. Nowadays, we are talking about multimedia. One reporter will be using the digital platform and the broadcasting the same as the print. And like nowadays, if you are print journalist, you're strictly print. But many of them are intimidated. Those who are bullied online, those who are scared and threatened. So it's yes and no. The forms of fright, forms of scare have evolved. There are digital ways of scaring people, and like nowadays they're basically physical. So yes, they are more terrified, especially the female ones. The ways of what do you call it? The insecurity for the female journalists is higher today than it was in those days. So the media has to look for ways of working around the new demons in town that are attacking their space.
All right. So a couple of comments. I also have some on my phone. Let's see the ones which are captured on screen. We start with Sir Nixon Ndugira. All we want now is respect for our constitution, respect for our laws, respect for a zero tolerance policy against corruption, and respect for our cultures. That's freedom. This is Engineer Lazaro. Saba Saba used to be a great day to remember sacrifices made by our second liberation heroes. Unlike nowadays, where political opportunists try to hijack it and claim credit where they didn't. So I see here, Mwirure Kungu says, Olive, as we reflect on the Saba Saba memories, it's on a sad note to bring attention that the driver who dared to sneak Akina Orengo, Shikuku, and the rest to Kamkunji grounds passed on. We see Ian Ndongo, who says, Honorable Njeru Kavango, your experience spanned some of Kenya's most defining political moments and remains an inspiration. And he asks, looking at Kenya today, what institutional reform do you believe is most urgent if we are to build a more accountable and future-ready democracy?
Yes, but the first thing is that people have to start changing their attitude towards what I call financed campaigns or funds given for politics. You see that if you want to be free, you must not be bought to be free. If you want to fight for your country, you cannot be paid to fight for your country. You have to sacrifice yourself. The minute you agree to be bought, then you have lost it. Meaning that the first thing that you must change is your attitude, and the second thing is you must know who your leader is. Don't just take it from the statement that they give. You must go deep and ask yourself, where does this character come from? Where did he start? But character drives to your village in a Prado, in a Mercedes, whatever it is, and you think he hand worked. The fellow is a thief, you know, and he wants to impress you with whatever, you know. And that way, you miss the leader. And the leader is in your village. A character you have known for all the time. A person that you have seen is kind of activities and behavior, the way he carries himself. You know them, but you ignore them. You wait for strangers who have got some little money. It's actually little because you see how much money is too much. People have got billions here. We have got 138 billionaires in Kenya. 138 who have commanded a crowd of 300,000 in this country who have become the opinion shapers in every village. That huwezi kutoa sauti yako sababu jamaa amesema na amelipwa kutoka pale juu, you know. So if you're impressed by those, you cannot get good leadership. Therefore, what I'm saying is this: let the country change its attitudes, and you will be able to pick one of you to be the leader, and that one will satisfy you. Utapotea miaka yote.
All right. Caleb, I read that President Moi once threw his rungu at you while campaigning in Western, apparently because you wrote in a piece in the Daily Nation that 90% of those who are attending his campaign rallies were students or pupils, school-going children, essentially. Is that accurate?
It's actually accurate. I was covering presidential candidates. I was covering Matiba, I was covering Kibaki and others. And Kinamalo Kijana. Now, Moi's rallies in some of those areas were mobilized by the local administrators. And I think, unfortunately, for Moi, some of them would mobilize more children than they would adults. Mm-hmm. So mine was just, I'm very descriptive in my writing. So I described the mood and the crowd of at every rally. So Moi did not like what he had read, and he stopped his convoy somewhere near Buye and called out to the national reporter in the crowd. So I stepped up and told him, "Mtukufu mimi ndio huyu hapa." So he threw the rungu. Fortunately for me, I had some skills. I could duck, and it hit one of his assistant ministers. But he didn't stop there. At a rally in a place called Makanda, he called me to the dais and actually told the crowd that I'm one of the people who are being used to fight his government. He told me, "Hawa tunaona ni wangapi?" I said, "Mheshimiwa ni wengi." He said, "Sio wengi, ni maelfu." So it was an interesting part that remains a part of my life. But I want to pick up from where Mheshimiwa left. Kenya has got two very serious enemies. One is impunity and corruption. If you don't take care of these two, we keep moving around in circles. I was privileged in the early 90s, early to mid 90s, to work under one Dr. William Mutunga at the Kenya Human Rights Commission. And we launched a campaign against impunity. It went on for quite some time, and we covered quite some good ground. Unfortunately, each time you gain a mile in Kenya, you lose another 10 miles. So long as our leaders refuse or continue disrespecting the law and the courts, then our country will not move forward. We keep moving forward one step and move backwards two steps. But we must fight corruption and impunity with every weapon at our disposal. Otherwise, we won't go far. And then lastly, this issue of democracy. Many of us have mistaken democracy to freedom to insult or say whatever we want to say. So we say that we are more democratic than Tanzania or Uganda. But what do we do with our private and public spaces? They're simply calling each other names. They're simply insulting each other. So I think what the rulers have done, because we are busy insulting each other, they've also encouraged two things to happen. The youths have been encouraged to drink. So alcoholism has taken over the lives of many young people. And then, what do you call it, gambling also come in. To me, those are two weapons that are being used to keep the youth so busy, to keep them zombinized, if I may use such a word, that they don't even have time to participate in politics of this country. Sure. So we have to wake up.
All right, I want to look at discuss the question of abductions and compensation because both of you have been detained. We have a situation where we have, for example, following the June 25th protests, we had a gentleman and a lady, I believe, who we witnessed being arrested by the police. They were not found in any police station. That's at least according to the civil society organizations that looked for them there. We did not see them in court as journalists. Later, we went to cover them at Nairobi Women's Hospital, and there was still Davis Lichuma, who was still missing. And the government disputes that abductions continue to this day. Your thoughts on that?
You see, first of all, let's say this, that governments are perpetual. That whatever the current government is, they are supposed to be responsible for whatever else any government has done, evil or good, for and against Kenyans. So when you pick just one area and you say we are going to compensate this, according to me, that remains a very serious omission in a society. That so many people have been affected over years, from 1906, when order was given here, to where Ruto is today, right? So many people have been affected by various things, including those abductions, detentions, imprisonments, and eliminations, which we have witnessed. I remember one case when I was in Nyayo House, being tortured there. One of the characters was picked by the same police and thrown out of 24th floor, right? And they said the man has committed suicide. That was repeated several times. So if you look at 1990, 91, 92, you will see so many people committing suicide from Nyayo House. But those ones were thrown out from 24th floor and the attic of the Nyayo House by the special branch. Did we compensate them? Did any government appreciate that it happened? No. So now what I'm trying to say is this. If you're going to be compensating anybody, it is actually an insult to compensate a character that was killed by the police and say 1 million. But that 1 million is the one that is given to maize roasters by politicians on River Road. That 1 million is the one that is given to people that are going to be singing songs about your political party in the village. How do you compensate a Kenyan who has been killed by a policeman in the police cells 1 million shillings, unless you're actually insulting the family and insulting society? If your police arrested people and you are saying later, see police where to arrest, what are you telling us? You're actually telling us we are monkeys. You are the only human being around us, which is very serious. So the thing you are talking about, Olive, is it is repeated many times. Watu kusema sio sisi tulifanya hivyo. So kama sio ninyi, is it worms? Ni worms walifanya hivyo. The siafu ndio ilikuja ikachukua mtu na tulimuona alipelekwa wapi, you know. And then people talk about the River Yala, people talk about the river, people talk about this and that. Who brought them to those other rivers and River Yalas? Right? Yeah, and they were carried in boots and the police vehicles to go and be thrown there. And then you come and challenge us about who killed them. What are we supposed to tell you? You are the one supposed to tell us. So what I'm trying to say is this. Let us be serious about reparations and compensations, right? Because it is the only thing that is going to, if you like, wrap out pains, and at least for families to understand that you're actually sorry. You should, in fact, give a public apology that it has happened. Not these pretentious statements that you give, that today, sisi tumegundua kwamba walikufa, and we are sorry about it. And then tomorrow, you are killing this another group, surely. How can we continue? Hata Mungu mwenyewe, akikusamea leo, umeua, alafu kesho umeua, uende kwake tena, watu, ataangalia hii mtu, you know. So what I'm trying to say is this. There is a God in heaven, and we have been told that. And that God in heaven can be very vengeful. You know that you are alive today, you die tomorrow, and your children's children's children will continue suffering. May God hear me.
All right. So in 2003, I think after the Nyayo torture chambers, because you've raised that right now, what sort of, quote unquote, open to the public to see?
2003, 13th of February.
Yeah.
And I am still the chairman of that business. You know, the Citizens for Justice was formed on the 13th of February 2003 when they came to power. Kibaki and his team came to power. And we met at the Holy Family Basilica, small hall. And together, we walked to Nyayo Chambers, where Kiraitu Murungi and declared Tutaifanya iwe monument of shame. In fact, I think Kiraitu Murungi has even forgotten that. He has tested his power, and he has forgotten what we said on the 13th of February 2013, and we opened the place. After we opened the place, it is me who was taking them around. And I asked Raphael Dinge Mwananzeki to come and bless that place. And we went there. What is it they had started doing? They had started to think that they should bring those cells down. Then they discovered that those cells form the foundation of Nyayo House. So you cannot do anything against or with them. You have to maintain them, right? And there are 14 of them. Those 14 cells are death chambers of Kenyans that were condemned in 1981 mwisho, and from there to 1995. So they are still there. And I guess that what the government has done is to introduce other torture chambers across the country, in the forests, I'm told even in Karen and in Karura, and in a few other safe houses for police to torture people.
So at the time, there was talk of the formation of a Truth and Reconciliation
yes, commission,
and there was a task force, I believe, led by Makau
Mutua,
who went around the country taking views, and I know there was talk of putting it, of using the South Africa case.
Yes.
To inform how we would approach it. Nothing came out of it as far as I'm aware.
Even me. I was the man that challenged the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in court. I went to court to challenge them. I also presented my views and that of my organization to Makau Mutua at the KICC. And what was my argument against the commission? The first one is that they brought 3 commissioners from nowhere Kenyans knew. We didn't know who they were, but they were put there. We were told some of them are from South Africa, others are from this and that, blah, 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 blah. And then the next thing they did was they appointed relatives of ministers of government then, to make money with the commission, not seeking the truth. And the third thing is that they made my friend Kibragat the chair, yet I had a lot of questions against him because of what he was doing in African freedom movements, you know, including Frelimo and Renamo, you know, of Mozambique, you know. And I said, this commission is not qualified. The commission was, the judge that had us was chaired or presided over by Justice Muera. He is the one that was in charge, you know. And by the time that they finished, they said, Kavango, you have lost the case. But then the next day, the term of the commission ended, right? So nothing happened. Therefore, whatever recommendations that they gave before they were ended, they gave recommendation that never tallied with the Kenyan interests or their past. They never addressed the Wagara massacre. They never addressed the Bagara massacre. They never addressed our plight. How do we reconcile if the issues have not been addressed? You know, and it remains the case up to now. Of course, some of them will talk about the Ndungu Commission about land. Others will talk about something else, you know, but those were simple excuses to avoid the responsibility.
All right, I'll ask Caleb to come in at that point. And first of all, let me start here before I ask to get your views on the panel of experts led by Makau Mutua.
Yes.
Come full circle, and the compensation payouts. Do you consider yourself a political prisoner? And I asked that question because earlier you talked about being held in northeastern Kenya, Garissa, I believe, for a year. And if I understand the facts correctly, you reported for the Daily Nation about a gunfire bandit attack on the PC's residence, so if I understood correctly, and several APs died. But when it was reported by, I can't remember which authority it was, they said a motor vehicle had backfired or something like that, and you were detained and pressed for information on who your sources were. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience? And do you consider yourself a political prisoner? And thereafter, perhaps you can tell us, do you support the compensation payouts?
Actually, in terms of fighting for the rights of Kenyans through my work as a media person, I do consider myself as a political prisoner. In Garissa, I was actually lying in bed when I heard gunfire. So the curiosity in me as a journalist, I came out of the house, and I went towards the gunfire. I bumped into two officers, police officers, who happened to be friends of mine, and I picked up the issue from there. So as the policemen fought the bandits, I was with them the whole night. And I witnessed the killing of 4 officers. Then the following morning, before, just as reported to the office, the district commissioner calls a press conference and tells us that he would like to tell Kenyans and people in Garissa that there's peace in that region, that last night one of our Land Rovers had a mechanical problem, it backfired, and people might mistake that for gunfire. So basically, that time I was working for Kenya News Agency, but it was very frustrating that time because you could not write the truth, as it were. So I had opened a channel for myself as a correspondent for the Daily Nation. So I filed my story describing the bandit attack and what I saw, and what the government said had happened. A Nation splashed the article in one of the dailies. So I think Moi got the information from the Nation. The PC had not informed him. I think they'd filed a different story concerning the so-called attack. So Moi forced, for the first time, papers to be flown to Garissa. We used to receive our daily newspapers after 3 days or so, but that day, the paper flew in a military chopper the same day. And the provincial commissioner ordered all biasharas to be closed, all shops were closed, even schools were closed, and people were headed to the Garissa airstrip for public rally. That's where the problem started. So after that, the special branch fellows, of course, found their way to my house and were arrested in my birthday suit a few days later, and was detained for quite a long time, tortured and beaten thoroughly. So some of the beatings that you can't describe. And it's my friend and hero, Motegi Njao, who drove all the way from Nairobi to Garissa many months later to come and secure my freedom. So yes, it is true that I'm a political detainee. And before I talk about let me talk something about the kidnappings. In our days, we didn't have CCTV cameras. And before let me talk about the kidnappings. In our days, we didn't have CCTV cameras. So they kidnapped you in darkness and warned you if there's no neighbor who witnessed you disappear like that. One time in Kisumu, I was blindfolded and my lawyer didn't even know what happened, thrown into a Land Rover and taken to Kisumu, to Kakamega police station. My lawyer was the Kisumu police demanding my release, yet I'd gone ahead to Kakamega, where I was detained for 2 weeks, and his PC Western, Yusuf Haji, who came to my rescue, because I had known Haji through his father that they used to come in Garissa. And then in Nakuru also, they broke into my house at night, the special branch, banded me up, took me to the CID headquarters, and I was there for a few weeks. Again, Motegi Njao came to my rescue. So we were kidnapped in our days, but there was no CCTV to be a witness to our disappearance.
Compensation.
Or compensation. But before then, sorry, just a quick one.
I was saying that the compensation, like Mheshimiwa said, without a public apology, is an insult. So we need to have a proper system of compensating while actually apologizing for all the killings since independence.
Good.
All right. Mheshimiwa Kathangu, you yourself were arrested, I believe, on July the 11th?
Yes.
1990.
Yeah.
You were having uji.
Uji pahali, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. tulikuwa pahali panaitwa Mutugi Bar in Dagoretti Corner, you know, and the police came, surrounded the hotel. That day was is very memorable because the president of Seychelles was in Kenya, and he had come to State House for whatever it is that they come for. And
GoDaddy has the perfect hosting plan for any website. From low-cost shared hosting to your own virtual server. Every plan comes with a 99.9% uptime guarantee, along with a free domain name and award-winning support. No wonder we're the world's #1 web host. Unlock your online potential today with GoDaddy.
You know, and we were told, the police, surrounded the hotel. Fantastic, you know, so they came and we had somebody, a journalist, unfortunately, who walked out from us just about 10 minutes before it was reported that we have been surrounded, right? And then after that, the police came and arrested us. May I say this, that they were not mistaken about our group, because we are the ones that had been coordinating for Saba Saba activities in Kamukunji and actually the rest of the country. We had transformed one of my offices at what we call the Musa House to be the watch office of Kamukunji. So we put in periscopes. Do you call them periscopes? You know, to kuangalia vile Kamukunji iko, you know, and so according to me, the police were right. But how did they know we were there? And I connected to this journalist, you know, not Atemi. Atemi is a freedom fighter. He's a liberator. But this one was a pretender working for the special branch, you know, and following us everywhere we went, you know. So we were arrested. Myself, Anyona, Godwa Kariuki, Oyugi, and then two others were arrested later. That is Caleb Gichana from Kisi and Dr. The owner of the hotel, Dr. Nyaribari was the owner of the hotel. So they were arrested later, you know, and brought to committee, not to Nyayo House. I think they may have come to Nyayo House, but later we found them in committee. And what is it? They were forced to come to court to give evidence against us that we were actually planning to overthrow the government, because Anyona had been in detention, Oyugi had been in detention, Godwa Kariuki had been in detention, I had been in prison under Kenyatta many years back, and so forth. So they thought, this man, because he was a military man, and these ones, because they were dons in the universities, blah, 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 they must have been doing that. Okay, nevertheless, we went. And these two, during the case, came and actually sincerely said that we were forced to come to give evidence against these four men. And therefore, they became part of our strong case that we were doing nothing. And Francis Mabele, and by the way, I want to say, may God rest Omondi Tunya, you know, in peace, because it is Omondi Tunya who was given our case first. I'm told he died yesterday or today, you know. He was given our case and he started with us. He was quite brutal, but the death knows no boundaries, and so I say, may he rest in peace. After that, it was given to Francis Mabere, who jailed Anyona for 15 years, myself for 14 years, and then these other two people for 7 years. And we were told to push them concurrently, meaning that we were all to serve 7 years. So what is it that we want to know from there? It's that
when you were taken to committee first?
Yes.
No, sorry, you were taken to Nyayo House first.
After arrest, we went to houses for searches, you know. And the search was conducted from about midnight to 6 in the morning, all of us. And then we were brought to Kilimani, which is next to you, somewhere here, you know. And from Kilimani, at 7 in the morning, I was driven now to my offices. And the offices searches were conducted up to about midday, you know. And then after that, I rejoined them, and we were sent to Nyayo House, where we were for about 20 days.
So in Nyayo House, because I read that, for instance, you were hit over one eye. I don't know that you still.
Yeah, that one was after. Okay. After we were arrested, then during the torture, you know, I was taken out from Nyayo House myself to Nyati, where they had kept, there is a chamber there where they were keeping some python, you know, and then so you are pushed into the room, and what you see is a python, and you know how pythons behave, eh? But it took me a long time to realize that the python actually was behind the grass like this one. You know, but when you are pushed into the room, munakutana na chatu. So, and then they came for me after about 5 minutes. I was sweating badly because I thought, now, how do I fight with this python? And this friend of ours called the policeman, I'll remember his name now, you know, he came, asked me a few questions, hapo kwa corridor, and then he held my head and smashed it on the wall, you know. And I was taken back to Nyaya. I was bleeding, you know, where I was put in a water-clogged cell until the day. They never came to treat me, but instead they whipped me a lot the next day. Whipped, you know, and because of being in water, I developed very many, it's not blisters,
Yeah.
Sores, you know, many. So after about 15 days when we went to court, I removed my clothes for the court to see how my body was, and it was all wood, you know. But that is the bit that I was saying. You must be ready, one, to have these tortures, even to be lame because of the beatings that you get, and eventually even to die, you know. And the issue is this: you are dying for your country because there is something you owe this nation. It has brought you up, and therefore you must fight for it. And this society, God knows, has contributed a lot for my life, you know. So I need also to give back something small, and that torture was part of it. Do we need compensation? The compensation that people talk about is not what I talk about. The reparation that is supposed to be given is not for the individual. It is to reinstate families who missed me for so many years, who cared for me through medical bills and what have you, you know, because the government never did it. While I was in prison, it is my family that was bringing me medicine, you know, that the doctor says we cannot have this medicine, so it is brought from home, right? That, according to me, is what we say. Families should be reinstated. Some of our partners and spouses have died, you know. And why is it that they are dead? Because of that absence. They are not able, or were not able, to accommodate every problem the family faced. You know, the very first thing is they were isolated by communities. Why? Because we were called rebels, radicals against Moi. And so anybody associating with our families was marked, you know, and so people avoided us. Some of our children could not be admitted in school. Why? They are children of rebels. You know, they have passed primary school, they cannot go to secondary school. They missed. So the question is this: how does a society like this one allow that happens to children? And so we say, why would this government or any government not be able to give reparation consideration to families like that one, so that the families are reinstated to their former selves? The man and the woman who has been arrested can go to hell if that is what the government wants. But what about the relatives? You know, that is what I'm saying. So compensation is not to pay the people that they can go and buy Mercedes Benzes, but because the government, individuals and officials are only involved in buying and getting free things, they think that that is what we are looking for. We are not looking for that. We are looking to be reinstated in society, a society that we belong in.
All right. So as I invite you to make your closing remarks, I'll start with you. Caleb, do you still bear the scars of your incarceration?
Psychologically, they are deep, they never go away. Each time you see a police van, a chill runs down your spine. Each time a car slows down near me, I get terrified, despite the fact that I'm a black belt holder, because these things, they keep recurring to you. And when each time I look at my beautiful children who are now grown, I thank God, because they're actually miracles, walking miracles. Because what used to happen in those torture chambers left very many men impotent. And the fact that God has enabled me to have a family is itself a miracle that I keep thanking God for. So those scars never go away. And my prayer is that Kenya will become better than it is and than it was before, and that we shall be more freer, and also use our freedom more responsibly. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And lastly, Honorable Kathangu, do you worry that the sacrifice you have made for your country will be forgotten? Do you think the Gen Z resonate with the Saba Saba movement?
The very first thing I want to start saying is the question that you have asked, Caleb. When we walked out of prison on the 14th of February 1992, I remember whispering to my friends and saying, we have two things that we must address here as we go. And that is the president and our families waiting about 300 meters away. How do we face them? Where do we belong to these politics? Because we came in here because we were politicians. How do we face this nation? Number two, do we or do we not forgive the perpetrators of this suffering? And of course, they made the answers to me. But I'm saying, I personally forgive Moi and everybody else. Why? It took us as the victims and Moi and his policemen in participating to reintroduce multi-party politics. They hated what we were doing, but whatever it is they did was positive because it angered the people in this country. It angered the international communities, and they came here to say, you must reintroduce multi-party and release these characters, right? Meaning that the three of us, the policemen and Moi and his government and us, were participants in the reintroduction of multi-party politics. It qualified me, therefore, to forgive them. When I was elected to parliament much later, about 5 years later, I became the voice of the policemen, that some of them went without shoes, torn clothes, lived like in ramshackles. And I went to parliament to say, look, these fellows cannot serve us well unless we treat them well, right? So, buy uniforms, increase their salaries. I brought about 250 pay slips of all ranks to show that policemen were living like beggars, you know, in a country that was so proud about being the first one in the region. According to me, it was not. It is not, even now, that our policemen and our armed forces live like scavengers all over the place. They cannot afford a life respectable enough that you can say, my child can go to be a policeman. No, you know. But if we were able to reward them, even the anger you see them right now, running all over the place, beating everybody. They are not beating people because they think that the people are wrong democratically. They are beating them because they are themselves bitter about what this society is doing, and we are not fighting enough for them.
All right.
That is what I think. Yeah. And I want to ask Kenyans, you know, if they can be able to think positively, even in their own villages where you have got about 20 policemen, changeni 100 muwapatie, waache hii mambo ya kuchukua pesa kuja kuwasumbua kwa village. You know, at least get one of the elders. And the elders now I have seen that they are going to be given some little money. At least 100 shillings per family so that it can be sent to the police station where they don't have food or transport. Even petrol ni sisi tunalipa, you know, for the policemen to go and serve, you know. Meaning that the government is not worried about whatever it is they do to the police and to us as a society.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your stories and your insights with us tonight. The 36th anniversary of the July 7th, 1990, Saba Saba Day, multi-party democracy. We've had with us in studio Honorable Njeru Kadhangu, who is also known as Mtumishi. And we've also had joining us, and he's the former member of parliament for Runyenjes. We've also had joining us veteran journalist Caleb Atemi. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us, Caleb. I will release you now, and you, our viewer as well. I've been your host, Olive Burrows, sitting in for Yvonne Okwara on the explainer. Our sign language interpreter has been Njoki Shege. Have yourself a good night.
And gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us in our conversation as we look at the political situation in our country and how we need to respond to the same rightly. Things are looking upside down from different angles, but there is always the right side when we must ensure that our decisions are not built on assumptions, but on credible facts. Our brother is in studio to help us in the conversation. How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah. Long time no seen. Where have you been?
Long time Nairobi iko na maneno mingi. Yeah.
So majina yako kamili na shughuli ya maisha yako.
Okay, my names are Eric Ayaga. I'm born in Siaya County. I come from Siaya County, but probably I was born in Mombasa, County 001.
Okay.
So I'm a Kenyan halisi, Kenya kamili. So I'm Kenya diverse from the tail end of Kenya to almost the other side of country.
Okay. Yeah. Siasa inakaje? Ukiangalia, just maybe I bring in the angle of the polling, what are they called? Opinion polls. We have had a constant outcome of opinion poll from 2023, 2024, 2025, now 2026, with over 60% of Kenyans polling that the country is headed in the wrong direction. And 60% constantly for 3 years, that should be speaking volumes. How do you read this? Are Kenyans being oversensitive, or is the reality?
Thank you. Number one, I think it is the reality. Number one, it is the reality. Because, you know, if economy is doing well, we don't need a prophet from heaven to come and tell us, or somebody from State House to come and explain for us what is going on. It is the people from down. They used to call it the bottom of the pyramid.
Yes,
yeah.
Pyramid.
Yeah. Those are the people who ought to have come and tell us it is doing well. But if it is they are the one that are saying it is not doing well, then the opinion polls are not far from the truth. Okay. Number two, again, the reality of Kenya. You know, Kenya, we have too much political space, and I think it is not by accident. It is something that is fought for, and anybody who is thinking it is Kenyans are sensitive about such matters should go back to 1982. We are in 2026. Yeah.
So you say we're having too much political space.
Yeah, it is good.
That too much, is it on the positive side or the negative side?
It is, everything has positive side and negative side, you know, everything. But I think for Kenya now, we must lead from the front, even in Africa. If you have a discussion with other countries, like in Uganda, you know, there is terrible things that are happening there. I had a media, three big media houses were locked down, not by the communication authority, but by the military themselves, when the constitution is saying contrary. Yeah? So I think it is, we need that space to express. And in Kenya, I think it is something you cannot take away from us, because it is something that was fought for.
Yes.
Yeah. The people suffer for us to be here. They knew what they were fighting for, and I think that is what we are having. It is not by accident.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've had the headlines today, today or yesterday, that the return of abductions, the return of abduction and the reign of terror seems to be revived. What do you make of that? And in view of, do you think the William Ruto administration still believes that they can scare Kenyans from expressing their political views?
I think whoever is trying that is in a wild world. Kenya of today, if you use that primitive kind of intimidations, Kenyans will fight back, and it will get back on you, not in a good way. You know, abductions are the things for the past. We have the best system of justice in this country. If somebody has a problem with either the government, but I don't think, why should you have a problem with the government or government have a problem with you? Who is complaining? We must have a complainant that Eric Ayaga has done something wrong. And if Eric Ayaga will not apologize or change, you just need to take Eric Ayaga to court, or you arrest me properly and then follow the justice system. Yeah, but you should not use the criminal justice system to fight the political enemies. I think that one will not work. It is something for the past, and I think it will hurt the administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on the verdict that Kenyans have given constantly, 2023, 2024, 2025, do you think that this administration listens to Kenyans? Because if you failed the exam 2023, you failed 2024, 2026, you should at least be improving. Why should you still be getting the same mark and you're still continuing to lead the country where everybody's saying is headed in the wrong direction?
That's why we have our constitution speaks about that after every 5 years. The second Tuesday or the second Tuesday of August, after every 5 years, we go for elections. I think Kenyans, we are awake, and you know there is a lot of manipulation that is taking place. I think Kenyans should next year wake up and make a correct decision. If the government is not performing, such government should be sent home. I heard Deputy President Kindiki saying that the Constitution is saying 2 term.
Yes.
Our question is, then why should we have election after every 5 years? He's a professor of law. So he should answer that, because he's teaching students. He was. I think he's still a teacher. Once a teacher, always a teacher. I don't think those are the things he's teaching. He should tell us that if Constitution is saying it is 2 term, then why should we have election? Waste a lot of money, by the way, which is taxpayers' money.
Yes.
That should take place in other aspects of life. That we are doing election after every 5 years. If he believes so, that Constitution gives somebody a 2 term. Once you are elected, you have eligible 10 years of running. Yeah. We should now change our Constitution and say, if you elect president, we have plain 10 years and it's done. Yeah. We can only do other elections. You know, in mature democracies, we have what we call mini poll, second medium poll, like in the US. These polls, the presidential election
is conducted different from these
other election. Yeah. So I think it is something that, if it can work, the professor should introduce it into our constitution in a proper way. But as it stands today, if you don't work for us within 5 years, you fail. First term failure, second term failure, third term failure. My friend, we will take you home.
No, when the professor speaks like that, is he telling us that our elections are just formalities? We don't need to decide who runs the show because somebody is entitled to 10 years.
Yes, but you can do it constitutionally. There are countries that they don't decide who becomes, like in UK. The people don't decide whoever becomes the prime minister. It is for members of parliament. So if maybe he thinks in best of his knowledge, he want to to change. They want to change the constitution. That a few people sit somewhere and then elect the president, like Somalia. It is correct. The Kenyans will reject it. But when we still have a mandate as Kenyan people that we are voting for our president after every 5 years, we have right to send whoever we want home, and whoever we want will come in. Yeah, such talks, I think, Professor, you need to apologize to Kenyans. Yeah, you need to apologize to us.
I think it's also degrading when you are a professor of law, and you violate the law in broad daylight.
Okay, exactly.
There are things that are better swallowed than vomited. Now, on the same premise, you can see a spirited effort to convince Kenyans that the Ruto administration is overworking. They are insisting on SHA is working, on affordable housing is everywhere, the roads are being done. Is this the reality, or is just giving us optics to make us believe that there's something going on when actually nothing is going on?
Actually, politics is perception. I've come to realize that the majority of things that are being done politically are perception. Somebody will come to open a toilet, and he comes and tells you toilets are being built in all of this region. I think that is the perception in politics in Kenya now should change. Kenyans have come so far to be duped by political perception in a way that we are being just told things we are yet to see. Yeah, we are yet to see. We need to see tangible things. You know, having if you go to like my county here, and somebody asks me, where is those affordable housing? I don't know where they are being built. If I go to maybe Mombasa, where the places I know very well, maybe there is few places. I think what government needs to do when it comes to this issue of development, you open the space. You know what Kibaki did? It's just to open the space. When you open the space, then everybody have opportunity to fight for their own. Yeah. You remember before Kibaki, you have to have no internet. We never have many media houses.
Yes.
Even having yourself in a media house like this one was a mirage to some Kenyans. Some Kenyans dying trying to even access KBC.
Yes.
Yeah. So when Kibaki came and opened the space, then a lot of opportunity will come up with themselves. Yani, with no force, nobody will push. I think what we need to do, even when it comes to, if you give people a better opportunity, you create an employment opportunity. I think people will not have no problem with houses. And even in strong democracy, are there affordable housing in the UK? Are they building house for people in the US?
But I have not even seen the houses that are built for people, because even this affordable housing scheme seems just to be that, a scheme. I understand the people who are moved into Mukuru are now being ejected because the houses have been put under new management, and it appears like that new management has bought the houses. I want to resell to those that the government so the ile ya kusema ati utalikuwa unalipa rent and then mwisho utakuwa na nyumba, it's just a gimmick. But that aside, you said Kibaki opened up the space, made Kenyans to look for what to do, and in doing what they are doing, they got what they were eating, and of course taking care of themselves. In your analysis of the Ruto administration this 4 years or so, is there space for Kenyans to grow in business, become employers, create jobs, or those opportunities are shrinking with every passing day?
You cannot create a space by adding tax. That's the simple and very easy answer. You cannot create a space by increasing tax. You know, there are people who are struggling with their businesses small, but the moment you increase tax, those business goes down completely. So there is no space you have created. And when it comes to infrastructure, we have not seen major roads or serious roads being built. Do you know what people doesn't know? That maybe there is a virgin place that people fear to stay because there is lack of amenities. If you build a road passing through that place and you just take an electricity, will houses not come up from that place? And water. Houses will come there automatically. So why are you building in places where they have everything? They have roads. If I would have advised this administration, if you want to build these houses, build them in rural areas, and ensure when you build them, you build a school, a good school. You also build a good road towards that remote area. Then that area, the value of land will come up. At least the people from that locality can enjoy some relief from the government. But you see, these houses, they are being built in already established areas, towns. Yeah, I think they are not making sense for Kenyans. Number two, our culture. You know, African culture was not considered when talking about the affordable, because I think I'm talking about affordable because the primary development agenda for this administration is affordable house. So affordable house ought to have been something that actually changed life. Number one, in our African culture, we don't stay with our parents. So if I pay for house, where will my kids go? Where? Will they be in the same building? You know? So I think they never consider a lot of things. Or they could have also said, we are trying to manage the urban people. So they concentrate building them in urban areas to target the urban dwellers. And then the people from rural areas will ask you, oh, but what about us? So I think they needed to have a sit down with Kenya in terms of so many things. Let us stop this whole mini propaganda about these things. And in terms of projects, apart from affordable housing, I'm yet to see. Yes, we have Rironi, Mau Summit Road. And I'm also working on the roads as a surveyor. So maybe I did also visibility study in this road from Tot, Kerena, Lomot to Marich, West Pokot, Silgio, Marakwet counties. That road that connects up there. It's a good road to open those places. I think if you open such places, then give them electricity, then give them water, then give that place about 5 years. The development will come on its own. That's how you open the space.
Exactly. And this one, we are forcing houses in between houses.
Exactly.
Are we really doing affordable housing, or we just have money that we need to spend and we are looking for where to spend it?
Leave alone. We are even bringing the ones that have been there down.
So that we build affordable ones.
Yet, there is a lot of space in Kenya. You know, as a surveyor, I can kindly tell you, because I've walked across the country. Do you know Kenya, in terms of land area, the places where people are not staying is bigger than where people are staying. We are staying in a quarter land area. In terms of land area, we are staying in a quarter. 3 quarters
is yet to be occupied.
Is virgin land is yet to be occupied. So what we need to do is, number one, we need to open those places. Like in Marsabit. Who tell you Marsabit is not habitable? If people live in Dubai, Dubai is a desert.
I've been to Marsabit.
Yeah.
I don't see the reason why even Marsabit still looks the way it is after 15 years of devolution.
Exactly.
We are either abusing devolution or we are just jokers in terms of providing sound solutions to what is prevailing in terms of ensuring that the country develops. So, from what you are saying, it appears that our successive governments are not even keen on solving Kenyan's problem. They just want to use Kenya's problem to play politics, but not actually find lasting solutions to the same.
Yes, Kenyans have become also, if you are smart, the ways they deal with you, they also become smarter. So I think Kenyans are being cobbled into a place that Nairobi is the land of opportunity. These big towns, those where the congestion is. So you can control them from that place. And they use tactics of divide and rule. If we can open up counties, like, have you know Kajiado County, the places where the biggest part of Kajiado, nobody stayed. It is Amboseli Forest, and those one from the other side, from Dukamoja, going down to Kimana, Senate Kimana, on your way to Loitoktok. There is a very big land there reserved. And now it is the big people who are cutting it. It's called 10 acre. I was surveying the other day.
10 acre should cut for me another 10.
You can't have less than 10. Yeah. Which means it is still something that is new and ni kama matumba. Uwezi chukua nguo moja, ni bail. So I think those places, if you build good roads there and move even some industries, you will open space for Kenyans. This congestion we are seeing in the city, it will take place. It is only in Kenya we are not talking about relocating the city. Do you know Tanzania they did? In Nigeria they did. They moved from Lagos to Abuja.
Yes.
In Tanzania, Magufuli did it. Removed everything from Dar es Salaam to Dodoma. Yeah. And now at least Dodoma is growing. Now the Tanzania is growing inward. But in Kenya, though Nairobi was a little bit on central, and at least we need to move now eastward and westward, and even northward. We need to develop counties like Isiolo. We need, because there are some parts of Isiolo. I don't think there is part of Kenya that is inhabitable. Yes.
Yeah, with the current technological advancement, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
We have seen Dubai, which is a desert, today is a paradise. So telling us that the environment condition in northern part of Kenya, even Turkana, Turkana is a very fertile place, my friend.
Yes.
Why can't we open up places in Turkana?
The excuse of, to me, it looks like an insult to our intelligence when we are still discussing Kenya with the premise of Jomo Kenyatta in 1963.
And Jaramogi
Oginga Odinga. I mean, at this point in time, we should be having, we should be having solutions in impossible places. If Israel is leading in exporting of horticulture by imported soil, people are able to carry soil.
They are turning ocean water into a fresh water, desaltification.
Yes.
Plant. Why can't we have one in Mombasa? Then pump that water into northern Kenya. Why?
We don't even need to do that, because in Marsabit, the water is underground and is salty. So it is dig a borehole, treat the water, use it for irrigation, and the land will become wherever fertile. Yeah. So it appears that our politics are twisted to play on the minds of Kenyans, but not necessarily solve the Kenya's problem. My question is, are Kenyans dangerous when they have solutions to their problem to the political class? Could that be the reason why politicians work around the clock to ensure that the opportunities become limited, resources become limited, and when they are available, they make them scarce deliberately? Is it that a population that is well able, taking care of themselves, feeding their family, educating their children cannot be politically manipulated.
I think this is a very deep problem. Very, very deep problem. It is not shallow the way many people think in terms of. Somebody once said that we fought for independence. Then there were black colonizers that comes in terms that came in terms of leadership. Our leaders are just black colonizers. The other day I was discussing a lot of many things because the leadership we have now, what they are doing to people is peasant. Something that can make you alive, but to manage you. Yeah. Have you come to realize that now we don't have indigenous crops? Who did that? The government. How? By introducing some bills where they bring the fertilizer that is destroying the land. And now you have to depend on that fertilizer. And that fertilizer has no room for those are local crops. So what they did, when you depend on them, you will come and buy fertilizer. So this cartel, it is a cartel kind of system. Yeah, it is a cartel kind of system. So they will ensure that they destroy what you have, so that you depend on them. Yeah. So that is a very deep, very, very deep conversation. And sometimes you be where people are, and people call it development, and then you see what is going on in the Republic of. I think Africa, we still need to fight for the third liberation, and that third liberation is economic liberation of Africa. If we attain that, is when we will come to realization that we are now fully independent as African people. But with them, they gave us self-rule. What we have actually is self-rule, because a black is your president.
We got the independence of the
economically, we are being ruled by this body.
NIS.
See, not NIS. Yeah. This body of giving loan and monetary.
Oh, IMF.
IMF.
Yes.
Those are the people. They dictate the tax we pay. They force everything we do. So I think we are being ruled from outside.
Yeah, then that brings me to the current news about Burkina Faso. Traore has cut links with France, their former colonial, completely. And after having settled all the IMF debts and everything, do you think the rest of Africa should go to benchmark Burkina Faso?
Yes, I think there is a time we were talking about the wave. And you remember, I gave the prediction correctly. I told you the wave in West Africa, it will reach East Africa.
Yes.
And that was just coups and protest. And the protest came in 2024.
Yes.
And it almost swept everything. Yes. So I think very soon, Africans will come to realize that most of their resources are being used by their leaders that are being protected by the white people. Yes. A country that is not farming, like UK, I don't think if the UK is doing farming that much, not in a large scale. We have a virgin land where we can do farming. Why should we control farming? I think Burkina Faso, if it succeeded, because Burkina Faso has a history of doing that. It never started with the Traore.
Yeah.
It started with a guy called Thomas Sankara. Yeah. So Sankara was cut short. It is a dream that is living in some of Burkinabe people. So I think with the time, Africans will realize and wake up and turn against their leaders and start using their resources. Look at a country like Congo. If Congo say today we are not giving any mineral, we will not have mobile phones and laptops. We will not. That they have a mineral that is only found in that place. Yeah. And it is not helping the people. Yeah. People are rich like Zuckerberg and the rest. They are very rich. Elon Musk. because of Congo. But go to Congo, the poverty is killing people. Leave alone the hunger is killing people. Leave alone the Ebola.
No, the question here is Africa its own enemy? Because the people selling our resources to the Western powers who are in response using the same against us are our own brothers, our own sisters. Is it that we are so much put in a system whereby we'll never do anything good for our people?
Exactly, because enemy of Africa is Africa. And a solution to African problem can only be found in Africa. Yes. So if our leaders, if our brothers, if our sisters who are in a leadership position in Africa, include Kenya, will not change and start focusing, they will still have. Do you know it is only Africa is where we have money and we go enjoy it in Europe? Or nowadays we go to Middle East. Yeah, it is only in Africa. Have you? The only people who are coming to Africa, they come as tourists. They just come to see wild animals, and you know our wild animals are being exported, and very soon they will not be coming to see them.
We
It
have
is
already
us who will
sold
be
to
going.
them, yes.
It is us who will be going to look
Now-
for to see a lion.
My question is this done consciously or there are people who are under duress?
No. It is done consciously. Sometimes under duress. I don't think it is under duress. Africans were easy to manipulate. The people were easy to manipulate. Make Eric Kayaga have a soft life and forget his background. And he go and he manage those people. Provided there is no trouble. If I come, I give you a small token. That's all. That's how Africans are being managed. So it is a management plan or scheme that was planted long way before in Lancaster House. Not even when we attained independence.
So how do we help the situation? Because the Africa that was scrambled for is no longer in existence in terms of the population then and the level of literacy then. We cannot compare it to today. How do we free ourselves from treaties and agreements that were done even before we were born?
Without our representation.
Without our representation or anything. And now we are being forced to obey them even now.
I think there are some. You say African that was scrambled for. It is only it is the same, and it has even become worse. What has changed is only population and a little bit education and ability to know. Only those three. But the rest of, in terms of management, Africans are being managed in all way. When they realize that education can make us catch up with them, it is now Africa where the education has become expensive. And you see people after Form 4, after high school, they go outside to look for cheaper education in the US and quality. Ours, too much expensive, but not quality.
Not quality.
Because, you know, you work with interns. Sometimes you get somebody has come from, the other day I was working with a guy from one of the universities. And I asked him, I was teaching them how to read a tape measure. A person who has come from the faculty of engineering have a problem with reading a tape measure. I asked him, I told him, go and measure for me that you are measuring some chain link. And he came and he told me 1.9. And I asked, what? Meters, centimeters,
Cockroaches,
millimeters.
Yes.
At 1.9.
Which units?
Which unit? Anyway, story for another day. So I think the quality of education we are being given is expensive. It's something that brain your parent, but it will not pay back. So it is an exhaustion that is not going to give you a good profit. Yeah. So I think our leaders need to be like very few. And that's why you can realize that African leader who is ready to work, they don't stay. They don't stay. Where is Thomas Sankara? How did Magufuli end? Any leader. So that tells you that this is a cartel that is controlling us from somewhere. Even in Kenya, our president, he will not just admit. The hand that controls the guy is not from Kenya. It is not the people of Kenya. The people of Kenya are just being managed by propaganda with lies.
As far as Kenya is concerned, William Ruto has already proven Samori Machel. He said, when you hear the West begin to praise me, just know
I am the problem.
I have solved you.
I have sold my people.
So, as far as we are concerned, Ruto has already sold us. There isn't much we can expect from him in terms of even Pan-Africanism. He started out as a Pan-Africanist, but now he is more a white man than he is a black man. And his agenda doesn't look like an African agenda anymore. It is a proxy for the West to do what the West want, and the West has found him as an important tool to get their job done.
Just use just use a correct one. Yeah, as a puppet that they are using.
So why will somebody volunteer to be a puppet when he has demanded of his people to safeguard the welfare of his people?
That's take me back to what I told you earlier. Africans are easy to manage. I don't know why. They are very easy to manage. I think we were not colonized by mistake. You know, I heard one day Museveni say our forefathers were very weak. I think they were not weak. Those people came, they divide and rule them, and when they use their tactics, they easily enter and they take everything. So I think as Africa today and as Kenyans, what we need to focus on is productivity in our country. What we are generating, our product, our minerals should benefit this nation. We should not elect leaders who are dealers, their main target is to go pick money from white, being promised protection. Because you know, these people, they promise you protection. Have you realized that in the very few recent revolution in Africa, to start with Madagascar, when that guy called Rajolina the protest was there, and where did he went? To France. Yes. He went to France.
To his boss.
to his bosses. Yeah. And even the guy who was removed in Algeria. Yeah. He went to France.
Let's get back here. Let's get back here. It's a sad picture, but we believe we will find a lasting solution. Ladies and gentlemen, as you join the conversation, kama kuna swali, wake up our comments to respond in the subsequent programs. We're here trying to make sense of senseless politics. Back home here, the ODM rankers, what do you make of them? Are they genuine? Is the Oburu faction digging in against the Sifuna and the change of office? How do you read it? Is it anything credible in terms of helping the future of the Kenyan people? In terms of, ODM has been the hope for majority of Kenyans for a long time, over 20 years. And the way it's being handled after the death of Raila Odinga, it is not promising. What's happening?
I think ODM has 3 factions.
Okay.
Yeah, it has. Let me tell you from today.
Tell us.
It has 3 factions. There is a faction led by Oburu. There is a faction being led by Sifuna and Orengo, the other side. And then there are people, they are called fence sitters.
Yes,
Yeah, the people are neutral and is trying to pull them to center.
The two forces
to come
come
the
together.
table. Yeah, so I think that is where we found ourselves when things are not managed properly. I think people never anticipate the death of Raila Odinga. Even if they anticipate it, they thought they could manage the post-Raila era. And managing the post-Raila has just become mysterious, like the person himself.
Thank you, Zeb.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is this faction led by Oburu Odinga. At first, I believed on them, and I thought they will manage. You know, once you have been given a party leader, either through crook way or once you have manipulated yourself into the system, you come back, you fall back as a leader, and now you extend hand.
Yes.
That is what Raila used to do. You fall back, then you extend hand. And it seems Oburu's faction have made their mind, they don't want to extend hand. So that has led to the total split of ODM. So I don't think there is something called ODM. It is only the name.
Okay. So is it that they don't want to extend hand, or there is a force refusing them from extending hand?
I don't think that force probably is coming from the state. If there is that force, I don't think that force will benefit with a divided ODM.
It
So
will.
I think this force, according to me, it can benefit with a united ODM behind them. But having a divided ODM, that will go either direction. Because once you have divided it, you don't know you cannot manage all the factions. Yeah. Because, you know, if you have created a war in a family where sibling fights themselves, and then you want those fighting siblings, now you want to bring them in one room, even you will not have peace. So I think Oburu should fall back, ought to have fall back. Immediately was confirmed as a party leader to extend hand, look for Rengo, look for Sifuna, say my younger brothers, or Rengo is their age mates, but Oburu is a little bit older. Yeah. Let us have a seat. Baba has gone. Let us have a united front. Number one, I think Oburu's policy is also what is bringing this split. Oburu's policy is totally different with Raila's policy. Raila have a confrontational, democratic way to approach issues. Oburu has a kind of compromising, compromising things to be seen good. That was not Raila Odinga. Oburu is doing that at the expense of the people. You know, Raila was always with the people. Yeah. If the people say no, Raila will look for a way to ensure he goes with the people. You know, there is two kinds of leadership. Have you ever studied like a farmer, a duck and a hen, how they lead their kids? Hens does what? They go ahead and kids follows back.
Yes.
But the duck always let the kids on the front.
Then it stays behind. Yes.
So you lead from the back. That's Raila Odinga kind of leadership. But Oburu kind of leadership is lead from the front. I've gone. It is either you follow me or you don't follow me. If you are courted by mongoose, that's none of my business. That's why you see ODM, that was aspiration of the people. ODM that was against abduction. ODM that was against police brutality. ODM that was against people dying in the prison. Today, even Senator Sosi was attacked. I'm yet to see official
communication
from ODM condemning that. Today, there is a lot of abduction that we were talking about. I'm yet to see the official communication from ODM condemning it. If Baba was there, Baba could have condemned it.
Yes.
So I think what is bringing problem in ODM is the kind of style of leadership of Oburu Odinga.
I'm yet even to come to conclusion whether Oburu is providing any leadership. Because since he came in office, like you've just said, we are yet to receive one official communication in terms of the state of the country and all that. All we see is Oburu is in State House holding a file that Ruto wants to sign. I fail to understand. Is this ODM or a shell? Because ODM would be, even when the finance bill is going to be signed, they will have a presser in the afternoon, okay? Either to poke holes or to support the bill. Not for them to appear in State House in the morning to sign the bill. What is going on?
I think those are the few problems I have with the Oburu kind of leadership. Leads from the front. You need to listen. And there are things that are associated with ODM. ODM could not be silent when there is police brutality, even on their political opponent.
Yes.
They will condemn it. But the ODM now, I'm seeing sometimes, even if their political opponent are being oppressed, they
won't say
anything. So I think that's where the ODM now has, it's called a natural mutation.
Mutating into something that I think is just, to me, when Oburu is talking about there will be a negotiation between UDA and ODM, all I'm seeing is talks between UDA and UDA, because the Oburu-led ODM is already UDA. In fact, they are behaving more UDA than UDA members. And so it is no longer an issue of them taking issues on the table to make UDA give them anything. They have already accepted to be UDA, and they are now they are advancing the UDA agenda. And on the issue of the United ODM is a threat to the security of William Ruto. One, for negotiations. Okay. Two, William Ruto would want to have a majority of seats in parliament. And if he's able to sponsor UDA candidates in ODM strongholds and be able to harness more members of parliament, it will weaken ODM by reducing further the number of members of parliament in parliament, and therefore William Ruto will have a free field. So to me, it's beyond 2027, and it has everything to do with the controlling of the House and not just the winning of the president.
I think contrary.
You think contrary?
Yeah, I think a united ODM could have been better for the president. Number one, for easy win. And number two, you are going for your second term. In your second term, as a president, you will become a dark-line president. It is obvious. Even Uhuru, he win with bravado, with everything. In 2017, it was nullified. They went back. He came back. He found himself a lame duck president. In second term, even if you have the majority, nobody will listen to you. Very few people will listen to you. So having a united ODM that will control parliament, and you just do one thing, promise them, just keep me here, I will give you this thing. That is what Uhuru did in his second term.
Yes.
When Probu rules in his own house. Who told you UDA can have majority? And immediately they hand over you power and they start disintegrating. Because there will be young people there who will be calculating post-Ruto, even in your own backyard. You will see Murkomen wrestling Senator from Kericho. Yes. Yeah. So I think for United ODM could have made him easily to this second presidency, and then tell ODM, I will manage UDA, you do this, organize the House, ensure we have a smooth ride, I will hand over, I will support an ODM member. I think that could have been easy for him. Yes. But going with a divided ODM, as he thinks. Because the information I have that Joho will have his own party. Oparanya will have his own party. Sifuna and Orengo faction may have their own party.
Yes.
Oburu may have his own party. You have divided ODM into almost 5 types.
Yes.
So after election, each will get a chunk.
You will discuss with who and leave who.
You will discuss with who and leave who. Now that's where the problem will be. And that's where you can be impeached easily. If the enemy from Mount Kenya will ensure that they have...
You agree with these other factions.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes our intelligence are trying things. But they are sending for you a message that will come to you that you don't know. You know, in our history, we have never impeached in a level of presidency.
Yes.
We always do governors and deputy governors. Now we have tested the highest office. Now we know the president can be impeached.
Yes.
In case of, and the deputy president can be impeached. And it can be done so fast.
Yes.
If there is a total organization from the assembly to the Senate, they can do away with you. So I think a united ODM could have been very safe, like what helped Uhuru in his second term. But you know, politics, dynamics changes. So let us wait and see.
Well, William Ruto seems to be know-it-all man. So he has the future in the palm of his hand. He can tell who will die or who will live and who will make it and who will not make it. Now as we close, how do you see the 2027 elections? Are we going to have majority of members of county assembly, members of National Assembly, Senate winning back their seats? Or we'll have a fresh parliament, fresh county assemblies?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Majority will go home. Many will go home from many regions. You know, there is a time in Nyeri where only one MP went back. Yeah, only one.
Only one.
The wave that swept the likes of Akina Kabando Wakabano.
Yes.
So I think it is something that it is tested in our land. And Kenyans have also seen the greedy of the members of parliament they have. I think they will not be duped by these members of parliament into voting for them. Lastly and finally, for the presidency, in my own opinion, there is no president in the Republic of Kenya that has won his second term in office. Yeah, since the advent of two-term rule in 1992. Moi never won in 1997. That's why he had an IPPG. And he had to bring Raila inside to stabilize his ship.
Yes.
Kibaki lost in 2007. And that's why we have a coalition government.
Yes.
Uhuru lost in 2017.
Yes.
That's why after that, Maraga confirmation, everything, he had a handshake to make him float. Ruto will lose terribly. For him, he will lose terribly in 2027.
And he may not be lucky as Uhuru.
Now, the only problem here is Moi stole it, walk away with it.
Yes.
Kibaki did it, walk away with it. Uhuru. So it is only upon Kenyans to let the president have his way. Because he's also going to open the Pandoran box. And we are going to seal this issue that once elected, you will have 10-year rule.
No, that box, whether it's open or not, all the people inside there except for Uhuru are dead. So we don't care. What we want is to have a constitution that is working.
Exactly.
Is either our constitution is the law or the president is the law. And if they make the president the law, they should find a constitutional backup for the same. Failure to which? To gawane Kenya. So ujumbe wako wa mwisho, hii mambo taendelea katika vipindi vifuatavyo. What's your message to the especially young Kenyans? We had the Gen Z protests and some, I think we have got 2 people that are missing or 1.
There were 7. One is found.
One is found.
Very beaten. He was dropped along next to Kenyatta Hospital. I've just seen the news when I was walking in. Some are still missing. So my last message, I want to tell Kenyans that let us just be resilient. Let us not buy into intimidation tactics. Number one, I think we need now to come to the post era of protest, because if somebody analeta ukatili kati ya watu, let us just wait and deal with him on the ballot. And I pray for Kenya, because I'm seeing where I come from. For the first time, I'm seeing 10 million Kwarambe anyway. We have to have spoke about that. But it is okay. The manipulation that took place in central Kenya in 2022 is taken to the lakeside of Kisumu. And they are doing it openly. I wish they will benefit from those harambes.
Benefit from those harambes. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayaga, for making time to speak to us. We will be having you soon. Come back to continue. Hatujamaliza. Mabibi na mabwana, naomba tumalizie hapo na kuomba tu tafadhali, ukipata hii video share na watu, na endelea kutegea papa hapa, kwa sababu mengi mazuri yanakuja kwa kuelewesha mambo na kuhakikisha kwamba hautafanya uamuzi katika uchaguzi bila kujua kwa nini unapigia nani kura na unataka Kenya ikue Kenya ipi. Tukutane tutakapokutana. Asante sana.